Hey folks, Carl here and welcome to episode 5 of Amusing Models FV215b. Okay folks, so as you can see we have, from the last episode we've primed, we've got the main colour down, which is of course to me is XF62 olive drab. We've also got the decals down in front of here, along the back there, a few decals on the turret, but there's not a huge amount of decals on this, and we've also matte coated. We've got the tracks all primed up and ready for paint, and I've been experimenting using a little bit of oils. You can see it on the turret, on the gun here. I'm finding it quite difficult to do on the main tank itself, plus we haven't done any chipping yet, so the next stage is we're going to do some chipping on the turret, the hull, the lower hull. We're going to be using two colours. We're probably going to use olive drab, seems a bit counterintuitive, but we're going to lighten it up a little bit with probably an XF3, a yellow, just to lighten it a little bit, put some chipping on, and then we'll use a darker, either a black or a hull red to give us a two-tone chipping effect. So that's going to be next. Then we will wait for that to dry. We'll then pin wash this with an oil. Even though it's matted, we'll use an oil because we'll take most of it back off with some of the odourless thinners. And then we are going to wait for all the oils and everything else to dry, and then we will give it another wash with some sort of dusty powders or something, but we'll think about that when we get to it. So let's get ready and move on. Okay folks, so we've got our old tatty mat out to work on. We've got an empty Tamiya paint bottle which has been cleaned up. We've got some XF3 flat yellow, and we've got our olive drab that we mixed up before, so we're going to give this a good shake, both of them. Okay folks, so we are going to take our olive drab and our XF number 3 flat yellow. Got an old Tamiya pot here. I'm just going to add a few mils of the olive drab. We're going to clean our pipette. No point wasting it. So we've got 2 pots of fresh water. I want to thank Brett G from the YouTubes for this one. I know these pipettes don't cost a lot, as Brett said. Just 1 pot to get the majority of the paint out. Like so, and then another pot just to finish it off. Like so, and we can now reuse that pipette. No point wasting it if you don't need to. And then we're going to take a very small amount of the yellow, not a lot, and put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll put 5 in for now. We'll give this a mix up to see what it looks like. I've got an old tatty brush. So get our olive drab out so we can see the difference in colour. To see if we need to add a little bit more olive drab. So to my eye, that doesn't look very different at all. Put my brush to one side, and we'll add another 5 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll take a look. Let's see what that looks like. Let's have a look in the big pot rather than that. Yeah, it's a little bit lighter, but we want a little bit more. I'll get to the point where I end up putting too much in. There we go, we put another 10 drops, so that's 20 drops so far. Now, I'm not sure if this camera will pick this up, but it is noticeably lighter now. So, I'll finish mixing that up, because we don't need a huge amount, we're just using it for chipping. I'll get that brush cleaned up in a minute. I'll get the lids on the paints first. Okay, there we go. Clean up a bit. Use this last clean up just to get most of this off the brush. There we go. So, there we go there. And the lid of my pot, just so when it comes to emptying this out and cleaning the pot, nothing's dried up on the rim. Makes it a lot easier to clean. I'll give that a shake, get mixed up properly, and there we go, we've got our lightened olive drab there to do some chipping with. So I'm going to get ready for that and we'll be back in a minute. Okay folks, so we've been doing a little bit of the detail stuff on the tank before we start chipping, and what we've done is we've painted the tips of the smoke launcher with XF50C, XF56 metallic grey. So we've just done the tips of these launchers on either side, and we've also gone and painted the exhausts with XF64 red brown, and I'm going to zoom in a bit here because Tamiya paints are notorious for going lumpy when you paint, so hopefully this will focus on there. So what we've done is we've painted it on and we've waited until the paint starts to dry, and then we dabbed it to give us a rough texture on those exhausts. Obviously these are now going to get covered with some different coloured pastels or powders, whichever you are using, to give them that more rusted up look. So that's where we're at the moment. So I've finished with this bit for now. So now we're going to get on and we are going to start to do some chipping. So here's the paint we mixed a little bit earlier on. Now to start off with, we are going to be doing the effect with some of this Brillo pad type stuff. I'll get scissors, we'll cut a very small strip off. We don't need a lot. So back in the drawer. We're going to roll it up like so. Get a pair of reversible tweezers. The other end is a bit better. And we're going to just use the old dab clean and dab effect. A little bit of tissue over here. Get some onto the lid because we'll be taking it off the lid like so. So all we are going to be doing is getting a little bit onto the end of here. like so. And we're going to be taking most of that back off, and then we're going to go and find the edges and parts of the tank that are more than likely to be chipped, so corners, edges and things like that. So it's a matter of just going around and touching the model with this where you think the chips are going to be. Don't forget, we are going to be doing some and another colour over the top of this. You don't need to press it very hard. The harder you press, the more you'll put down. We don't want a huge amount to go down on this. It's not exactly an old World War II tank that's seen its fair share of firing. This has just been used in peace out. Well, actually this tank was never used because it was never actually built. So you can see, to start off with, you can see that very slight different olive drab colour, and once that is dry we'll go over the top of that with, we were going to use some Hull Red, which is still up on the shelf. I give it a little bit of a trial and it doesn't really show up very well, so we will go straight to black after this. So I'm going to get this done. You're not going to sit here and watch me dab this thing all the way through, and when we're done we'll come back and we'll show you the black to start off with, and we'll proceed from there. So talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, so we have finished putting our lighter olive drab on, and we've started to put some of the black on the front, and we are putting it on exactly the same way as we did with the lighter olive drab. We've got a little sponge and we're just using standard flat black. So I've got quite a bit to do to this, and we've also been doing some of the rust on the exhaust. So I'm going to zoom in a bit. Let's see if we can get this to focus on the rust there. And we've been doing this with a little bit of X20, so we're getting a little bit of X20 in a pipette. Where are they? This one. So we're getting a little bit of X20. We don't need a huge amount. We're putting it into our palette, a couple of little pieces like so. We'll do this side the same, and we're using the Pinnacle weathering pigments. There's two colours. There's a darker, slightly darker and slightly lighter. I have no idea why I said that. Open that up like so. This stuff is really good. So if you ever see it, I got this from Telford. It's worthwhile getting quite a few pots of different colours. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different shades. It's really good stuff. So what we're doing is we're wetting our brush with a little bit of X20, not too wet, just so it's damp. And what we're doing is we're getting a tiny little bit of the powder on the brush, like so. Where's my bit of tissue? Around here somewhere. Can't find it, so I'm taking most of it off with the brush, and we'll zoom right in. Other way. So we've got our exhaust there, and you can see it's slightly rippled effect what we did with the Tamiya paint, and we are literally just dabbing it on to the exhaust like so. We want to be getting a bit of shine here. So now we've got 2 tones there, and we're going to dry our brush off a little bit more of the powder. I'm just going to force it on like so, blowing the excess away, and then we're going to do the same again with the darker colour. So a tiny little bit on the brush, get rid of some of it, and then again just dab a slightly different colour on, and the powder is giving us the 3D effect, so I'm going to get it on the sides as well, so on camera, like so. Dry our brush off completely, and then we'll just get some, again, tiny little bits on the brush, blow away the excess before it marks it. Like so. A bit more dark stuff there, I think. Not a huge amount, just a tiny little bit. Too much on the brush. There we go. Are we on camera still? Yes. And we're just pretty much just dabbing it on, and then there we go. And then come on, focus, and then we're just going to leave it to dry. I might go over that in a moment with a little bit more of the darker, because it's a little bit bright in comparison to, come on, focus, that one. Trying to focus on my hand. So there we go. You can see the two-tone chipping there. Obviously this is going to get a wash over the top of it as well once it's done. We have not got it there. So yeah, we got these bits in the middle to do as well. So that's where we're at the moment. So I can now clean this brush off. Get that dust out of it. So I'm going to carry on getting this done, and obviously the rest, because we've still got the main turret to do and the lower hull. So I'm going to go and get the rest of the chipping done on this. I wasn't intending on going so heavy with this chipping, but you do have a tendency to get carried away, so yeah, there we go. So rust is done, well, almost done. So carry on with the chipping. I'll talk to you in a bit. Okay folks, so we have been working away on doing the chipping, and we've got the lower hull done. I don't know how well it's going to show up in this light. I can't really see the picture very well, but we've done some of the colour that we mixed along with some black over the top, exactly the same as we did on the hull. Ignore this up here, these were just practices because we're not going to see any of that under there anyway. A little bit on the front, the same on the other side, and of course on the back. Now what we've done, we've gone and we've mixed up a filter with white spirits and oil paints, and this is a green. Now the green that it is, oh, if I can reach over and reach it, is a sap green, and what we're doing is we're painting over the top of this, painting this over the top of this. Now we've done the upper hull already, and what it does, it blends in that chipping. It's a little bit shiny at the minute, so it tones down the chipping and makes it a little bit more blended, shall we say. So then of course we've gone and we've done the rust, which you've seen already. So the only part left to do now is to get the filter onto this, and we're just brushing it on wet, leaving it to dry, and then giving it another coat. So it's literally just paint it on, get it all wet, leave it to dry, paint another coat, and that is it. It is done. The only part left we've got to chip now is the main turret, and then that is that done. So I'm going to finish these last two bits off and we'll be back. Okay folks, so that is the main turret and gun finished. We've got the chipping done, we've got the filter down, and it is ready to go. So we're going to call this episode here. I'm not sure how long we've gone on for, so we'll stop now, and the next episode we are going to be applying some dust effects and getting everything fitted together. Of course, we will also have the tracks to do next episode, so they should be fun. And then that is us done, and we will be moving on to the next project. So I'm starting to think of what to do next. Now we've got obviously more armour. We've got British, Russian, German, or we've got a couple of planes in the stash, and we've got plenty of science fiction. We've got some Bandai Star Wars and some Machine Krieger. So any thoughts on what you'd like to see next, make a comment down below and we'll have a look and a think about it. So yeah, that's this episode done. So thank you very much for watching. Be good, be safe, and as always, keep making models. We'll see you next time. Ta-ta. All primed and ready for oh dear, 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 dear. An episode done, so we'll start again.